Hey.
Alright, Joel, so we are about 2 weeks into the NBA season now, and one of the more underrated storylines has been the start of a potential breakout by RJ Barrett. And for some reason, nobody in the entire world of basketball seems to be talking about it, so that is what we are here to do today. Because if you have not been keeping up with the team north of the border, as of now when I'm making this video, RJ Barrett is currently 8th in the entire NBA in points per game at 28.8. And of those top 10 players in points per game, RJ ranks 2nd in assists per game at 7.3. Those 7.3 assists, if he's able to maintain that number, more than doubles his previous career high for a season, which was 3.3. And on top of all that, so far he is shooting 46% from 3 on 6.5 attempts per game. Both would also be career highs for him. Now obviously, because RJ missed the first 3 games, he's only played in 4 so far this season, meaning that this is a very small sample size. But these are all numbers that I would love to routinely check in on as the season goes on, because so far the eye test seems to match that RJ Barrett has just been playing absolutely tremendous basketball to open up this season. After he got traded from the Knicks to the Raptors at last season's trade deadline, we had seen a few glimpses and flashes of RJ potentially expanding his game and growing as a player, but I don't think anyone was expecting this big of a leap this soon. And one thing that, I don't know if other people have forgotten, but I totally forgot until I checked his basketball reference page, but RJ is still only 24 years old. He is only in his 6th season and he is just about to hit his prime, so all of that makes me want to believe that these numbers actually could be for real. Now the main thing that has stood out about RJ so far this season is the same thing that has always stood out about him throughout his entire career, and that's that his ability to drive the ball and get pressure on the rim is some of the best in the entire league. But what I especially like seeing in this game is that he seemed a lot more confident in his drives. He also seemed a whole lot more patient. And his ability to finish through contact also seems like it has improved greatly since the start of his career. He also remains one of the better transition players in the NBA, and I'm very excited to see what him and Scottie Barnes look like on the court together this season, because prior to Barnes' injury, he was making a huge emphasis on pushing the ball quickly and transition. So anytime the Raptors are able to get out and run, I think him and RJ are going to be a very dangerous duo put together. Now another thing that stood out to me was obviously the very high assist numbers. Now I was just curious to see if these were easy assists, or if RJ was actually having to work for them and doing a good job of playmaking for his teammates. And I was actually pretty surprised to see that it was a lot of just really nice playmaking and creating shots, manipulating the defense that led to a whole bunch of these assists. For starters, he looked extremely good and patient in the pick and roll, especially with Jakob Poeltl. They seem to have a really good chemistry. Both of them, passing back and forth to each other, because obviously Poeltl has already established himself as a very good passing big man. But I also keep on mentioning RJ and him being patient, as there was a few plays where he would either get a mismatch or just slowly drive his man into the paint. The defense would be forced to collapse, and then he would kick out 2 wide open shooters. Now, unfortunately, outside of Grady Dick, there aren't that many efficient shooters on this current Raptors team, but I would imagine once they get Barnes back, once they get Quickly back, maybe if Ochai Agbaji can find his shot again. But I really can't stress enough just how decisive he looked with the ball in his hands, which again is something that I feel like you haven't been able to say that about RJ in the past. It seems like he has really taken a leap offensively, and seems to, again, just be really confident in how he plays with the ball. And speaking of confidence, that also applies to his jump shot. He has been firing at will, firing constantly. There was one point in his career during his 2nd season where he eclipsed 40% from 3 for the whole year. But outside of that one season, he has not exactly been the best 3-point shooter. He's been right around league average and even a little below it. But like I said at the top of the video, he's currently at 46%, and again, small sample size, but just the way that he is shooting the ball confidently, it really does feel like we might have that sophomore RJ jump shot back again, and that will be a huge boost to this Toronto offense if he's able to score from both the 3-point line and at the rim. Because if he's able to solidify himself in both of those areas, then the next key to unlocking him fully on offense would be figuring out that mid-range jumper. Because as of now, he doesn't really take a whole lot of jumpers from the mid-range area, but he did have one pull-up in this game that he knocked down, and I'd love to see him at least attempt more of those shots to keep the defense honest. Overall, it really does seem like this change of scenery back to his hometown of Canada, not really a town, but you get what I'm trying to say. It seems like that trade has been a huge benefit for RJ. He really seems to be blossoming into the player that everyone in New York dreamed he could have become back when he got drafted back in 2019, and I've just been loving to see it. As for other players that have been standing out to me from the Raptors, obviously Grady Dick continues to be amazing in his sophomore season, but I just made a video about him just a week or two ago, so if you're looking for stuff on Grady Dick, I'd urge you to go check it out. I also speak about Scotty Barnes and a few other people in that video as well. But to mention a few other players, rookie Jonathan Mogbo, he seems like he has been a tremendous find for the Raptors as a rookie big off the bench. He can play the 4, he can play the 5 in small ball lineups. Extremely athletic, has a really high motor. He can rebound, he crashes the offensive glass. There were a few times in this game where they were able to just dump him the ball in the high post foul line area, and they would just cut back door or run handoffs off him exactly like they would Jakob Poeltl. He has enough playmaking right now that he can make some good passes, roll to the rim, and just move the ball in general, which is really good for what he is a rookie. So I'm very excited to see what he's able to do during the rest of his rookie season. And a few other rookies who looked good in extended minutes, Jamal Shed, who currently is getting playing time because of the injury to Emmanuel Quickley. He was a preseason hero for the Raptors. He just has really good bursts, can get to the rim, is a really solid passer. Also plays some nice defense, especially at the point of attack. And then Jacoby Walters saw his first NBA action in this game as well. And despite the fact that he looked extremely raw, obviously, again, with it being his first game, he did have a couple of really nice hustle plays, which apparently he's supposed to be a really good scorer of the basketball. He didn't quite have it in this game, but I can see the vision. But again, he just had a couple of nice plays and flashes here and there. Overall, I listened to a whole bunch of podcasts in the off season, and pretty much everyone I listened to was extremely down on the Toronto Raptors, saying that they were a rebuilding team with no vision for the future and that they had no plans whatsoever. And I just extremely disagree with that. Like, yes, they have a whole lot of money tied to a bunch of young, unproven players. But based on what I have seen so far in this very, very short season, their young core is filled with a lot of talented guys who I think have really bright futures in the NBA. Scotty Barnes is a potential All-NBA guy in the future. They have RJ Barrett, who if he continues playing like this, could also maybe see an All-NBA team at some point. And then between Emmanuel Quickley, Grady Dick, they have some solid role players in Jakob Poeltl. Again, Mogbo seems like he's going to be a really fine piece to the bench. Obviously, this team is not going to be very good this season, but if they are able to, stick together and blend well together over the next 2 to 3 seasons, then I think this could actually end up being a pretty solid team at some point in the next couple of years. At the very least, I am excited to see what the future of this Raptors team looks like, because again, they're fun, they're exciting, they like to get out and transition and play fast, athletic basketball, which at the very least is entertaining to watch. But that's all I got for this one. As always, if you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all of those good things, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.